You can have any woman in the city. What do you really want? Why show me?
Because I'm going to run.
Why tell me?
You know something.
About running? Dying? What?
Both, but running is what I'm interested in.
I know what everyone knows. Try like hell for a no. You have the same chance as anyone else. Carousel.
Look, don't you understand? It's different now because it's me. My life. Help me.
Welcome back to the Harper Podcast. I'm your host, the Kino Cowboy, and I'm with my boys today. Scott, Boston Flasher. We're chilling back from the summer days, talking about some of our favorite Kino. Logan's Run, at least for me.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite science fiction films of all time.
Yeah.
I like it. I want to say, welcome to the 23rd century, I might add. That's
I didn't see this movie until I was an adult. I figured out a lot of people watched it when they were younger. I didn't even know about it, didn't even hear about it. I was probably kept away from it because of all the boobies. I don't know.
Boobies.
No, I'm surprised that like
it's rated PG.
Well, that, but like no one I was around when I was younger ever showed me this movie. I don't know. And
this is like a top for my dad, so that's how I got introduced to it.
And I just feel like the world building and special effects and stuff like that are so cool that it should have had more recognition, kind of like, you know, how Star Wars came out like a year after this.
Yeah,
And,
almost exactly, which is
took over the world.
Why it got overshadowed.
Yeah.
I didn't watch this till a few years ago, and I didn't remember a lot of it.
Wow. Every part of this movie stuck with me. I like movies where like someone's trying to break out of an illusion or like a simulation or something. You know, like Dark City or The Matrix and stuff like that. So I'm always into that kind of stuff. Old world secrets, like something has been left behind and they have to figure out what's going on. I love that kind of stuff. It's very fascinating to me. Never read the book though. I wonder if that would.
I never read the book either. I might end up ordering the book just for shits and giggles and reading it, because this movie is one of the sillier, like more outlandish fucking ideas and like concepts, and it's like pure science fiction maximalism at like its finest.
Yeah,
science fiction maximalism. That's a good way to put it, because this is a tropey movie.
Oh, dude, it's like the king of tropes. They like created a lot of the tropes too.
No, I don't know how many it created. It certainly popularized, because I
guess that's a better word for it, popularized.
Yeah. Because it almost feels, let me put it this way, it feels very pre-Star Wars sci-fi. It's a movie, if that makes sense.
It's
but like
vibe.
You still, and I'm not saying that as a bad way. Like it opens on a heavy synth score that's like straight out of Forbidden Planet or something.
Yeah,
you know, just like computers, the future. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, and the way the city is designed is like
Epcot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
no, because before we got the Epcot fucking park, the original idea was an actual utopian city Disney envisioned. If people don't know, it stands for Experimental Prototype City of Tomorrow. And his concepts and plans for it actually look similar to the city in this. But of course, the world wasn't ready for his city, so it turned into a nice.
So he froze himself to awaken when it is ready.
No, wait. Listen, dude, one of the best episodes of fucking Batman the Animated Series plays off of that, and it's a Mr. Freeze episode, and there's this Walt Disney guy who did freeze himself or he's trying to free or something. And he's created this utopian city, and Batman and Robin have to like infiltrate it and shit. And it's like if I could take a Batman story and expand it into a feature, that's the one I would do. Because it's Batman X versus fucking Walt Disney. It's fucking
That's cool.
sick.
It's still not as good as Biodome.
No. Disney's gonna be pissed when he's unfrozen and he realizes that the Jews are still here.
He's like, wait, they're my executives now?
Back to the freezer.
I'll tell you what, video game took inspiration from Logan's Run, fucking Portal 2. Same kind of shit.
I can see that.
I felt a little Bioshocky too when they head to the cathedral room.
Oh yeah,
and it's like destroyed, and there's a bunch of kids in there fucking running rampant.
Oh, and Ken Levine is the right age. Like he was a teenager or whatever when this movie came out. The director of BioShock. Yeah. Although again, these sort of utopian, dystopia, those were established tropes. And it comes out of I don't know. I think it comes out of the social revolutions that happened in the 60s, definitely. Of people saying, hey, maybe this idea of American utopianism after the Vietnam War and the assassination of JFK, yada, yada, yada. Maybe there's something more to this. And we see, spoilers, dilapidated Fallout 3 DC at the end of the movie, because American society has crumbled. If the metaphor isn't hitting you over the head like a megaton nuke.
It's like Max.
That's okay though.
Apes driven.
It's cool. No, those matte paintings, or whatever you call those backdrops, are dope.
Awesome.
I was expecting him to see the Washington Monument. I forget that he doesn't know what that is, but him to drop down to his knees and go, no.
Yeah, I certain sci-fi I like heavy-handed commentary. I'm cool with it, like in Snowpiercer, but we're not here to talk about that. But I do like at the very beginning, I forgot that it starts with Logan in the nursery, and he's just kind of immediately right off the bat, like thinking, well, wait a minute, like if this baby's here, I haven't renewed yet, I don't know. It's just like immediate. And then to push that forward as they're heading towards renewal, the score for the movie turns into these like bell tolls, which, insinuate impending doom and stuff, and clock ticking down to your death. So I don't know. That's just stuff I noticed on the rewatch that I really liked.
It seems like, well, apparently there's been like over 1,000 runners escaped or whatever, allegedly. Although the computer is the evil HAL computer mastermind. That's another trope. Is not even evil. It just thinks itself to death. And it's like, all right, we got that going. And you can do that in Fallout.
Well, I think that was set up by someone to because it wouldn't just know about Sanctuary on its own.
And then why would it know not knowing it? Here's the thing, there's a lot of problems with this plot if you really start thinking about the logic of it, and you kind of just have to go with it at a point, because a lot of it doesn't make sense. You're not even sure why their society, it seems like it has enough resources where people don't need to die at 30.
Well, that's the fun part, is thinking about all the stuff behind it,
and that it doesn't tell you. You don't know how the world got into the state. It doesn't really tell you. You don't know if it's nukes, if it's ecological disaster, or like plague. You have no idea, and it kind of doesn't matter.
The only thing that threw me out, like I'm over to overlook most of that, but when they finally like make it out for the first time in the frozen room, they're like, oh, let's get naked and look at these convenient pelts that are already skinned.
I thought that too. I was like, damn.
the whole, and then they get their clothes back on. So the whole point of that was somebody being like, this movie doesn't have enough boobies.
Yeah.
That was the whole point of that.
That was so funny.
I lost it.
He literally says, let's take our clothes off. And then he keeps his pants out. It would have been
also like they're so cold.
There's not enough dong in movies, and
they
male
took their fucking shoes off on there too. So like it's not like they're getting any warmer. They're standing on ice barefoot.
Yeah,
they just have pelts over them. Which I mean, I'm not complaining. Like, whatever.
It's like a stupid Bear Grylls thing where he has to do something stupid for the cameras. He's like standing next to a stream. He's like, "This is dirty. I need to drink my pee." Or like he'll be like, get naked and throw your clothes across the river to not get them wet. And it's like, okay, whatever, Bear. You go back to your hotel at the end of this.
Oh shit!
I will say this movie hits different now for a different reason than it did when I was younger. Can anyone guess why?
Because you're almost 30.
Yeah, because we're almost 30. Interesting.
I'm 29. I'm a year older than you guys. I'm right there.
You'd be blinking, bro.
I would be blinking.
Blinking, bro.
Would you run? Would you be a runner?
I mean, yeah, because here's the thing. We'll get to this, but also, I don't know. Would I want to live in the outside world? Although that old man's doing okay with himself, so he's apparently fine.
He's just fucking
subsisting off walnuts or whatever.
He's just cute as fuck. It's the cutest old man.
Well, but like, you don't know what's outside yet.
There was actually. I didn't watch it. I discovered this because I tried to watch this on Tubi, if you know what that is, streaming service. And it was like, wait, this is a Logan's Run TV show. There was a 14-episode TV show that was like on CBS that was sort of a post-apocalyptic society of the week. Logan was running and Francis was chasing him as the bad guy. And he'd go and find these different post-apocalyptic societies among the ruins of the United States. So, you know, there's things you could do with this concept. Yeah, maybe you get outside of DC and the Brotherhood of Steel is hanging out or whatever. Well, I don't know.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, I don't want this movie to be remade because it would be probably made with generic sci-fi like looking shit. Damn.
With the art direction and stuff. Here's the thing. I think of all the movies that Hollywood for whatever reason wants to remake, I could see this one being remade with themes relevant to today. They would have to go with an art style that's fitting, you know, because it doesn't need to be completely sterile. It needs to be hedonistic. Although also not too, I don't know if I want to see people like popping Molly and stuff.
No.
I'll tell you what, I saw that dude throw that fucking ball directly into the ceiling and I was like, where is that? Where can I try that?
That was funny.
I like the concept of pleasure planets in sci-fi a lot. Like pleasure societies. I think they're like they're the evolution of the Greasy Boys, honestly. Yeah, it's just the pleasure society. Like
they get into that in Steven Universe, actually, of all.
Well, they have one. There's a comic book series for our audience. If you've never read it, it's called Saga. There is a pretty major. It's my favorite science fiction work of all time. I will proudly say that. But they go to pleasure planets, and that was like my real first introduction into them. And I was like, holy shit. So anytime I've recognized them since then, I've always appreciated it because I was like that concept of just like taking a world and making it just as hedonistic and just as fucking greasy as possible. Let's fucking do it.
That's I just have to mention in Warhammer 40K, the Eldar, the space elves, they had so many pleasure planets and their entire society was built around that. They caused a rip in the warp, which is like a fabric of space-time, like hyperspace, but with demons, and created a new chaos god that was a hedonistic chaos god, Slanesh, which our friend Dimitri had a cat named after. But I don't know.
That was just fucking cock.
Yeah. Dude, the fucking pleasure planets of Warhammer are fucking gnarly too.
Well, yeah, because it gets weird BDSM, like they're murdering people for sexual pleasure and stuff.
Hey,
yeah, that'll be if they do a gritty reboot of this. That would be if it was remade in like 2010.
No, see, fuck all that. I could handle. Okay, I don't want a remake of this, but the guy inside of me who is obsessed with world building. I know that sounded like a Tobias Funke thing, but no, just like I want to know more, even though that's not the point. The point is your imagination running wild while you watch this movie, trying to figure shit out. But like I could do like a mini series if they kept it like retro futuristic, like let's say society died off in like the 70s or something, and that's why it looks so 70s influenced. I don't know. I could do like a mini series or like a 2-season thing, but not like a movie, because I'm afraid I'm so sick of all these generic sci-fi, like just everything is so boring.
Well, this is a very YA kind of movie. I mean, this is even the idea like Hunger Games or Divergent or even Harry Potter, like you're classified. I'm a green, I'm a red, I'm a yellow, da 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 da. And all that, and just, ooh, the system is broken. It's oppressive. We have to escape it. You know, all of that stuff. Before YA literature, as we know, it was even a thing, and this was a big hit with, you know, the kids, because there was sex and drugs and no rock and roll, just synth.
But it's beyond that, though, with the concept of what's outside of the dome and stuff. I don't know. It's just
it is beyond that. But there are
like it's even like when they make it out of the dome, they get that small piece, and that's enough for them to make it be like, hey, let's expose this. Let's end the society that we're in because we can live longer. But we don't know, like, obviously there's got to be more people out there. He can't be like the last fucking person.
No, that wouldn't make any sense.
No, but he's just didn't leave he himself trapped himself in a dome of that area.
Yeah,
that's true.
Kind of like, so he may not have been in that dome, but he like stayed in one area and kept himself completely ignorant to the rest of the world.
Well, yeah, he was born of his mom and his father, so they may have escaped the dome. They may have been the only people to get past that, like, fucking ice runners.
Which again, the whole running and be like, all right, you made it out. I'm gonna freeze you now. Like,
which is fucking
so dark,
bleak, and devastating. Like, oh shit, none of these people actually made it out. There is no sanctuary, which I like. That's a common sci-fi post-apocalyptic trope too. It's even like in Fury Road, they're looking for the green place, and it turns out it was that creepy place they passed originally.
Well, that's one of the things, and I like that, is paradise doesn't exist, and you have to kind of make it. But it can't be a false paradise like the dome is. And sanctuary also doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And you know, and it's the dangers of utopia and the dangers of seeking utopia, which is a common theme in sci-fi. And I reject anybody who tries to either create utopia or return us to a golden age.
You say paradise doesn't exist, but have you been
to Margaritaville?
Yeah, no, to all you can eat steak night at Western Sizzling.
Oh,
shit. I've been a Western Sizzling. That's definitely not my idea of paradise.
Peepaw shit.
It's peak peepaw shit.
I will say, it's important to. I like that Logan, even after establishing soft outs with the babies in the nursery, even he's still having big hype at the renewal. He's like getting into it and shit.
It's groupthink. It's like a Nuremberg rally. I mean, that's a weird example, but you know, you get caught up in the man's luxurious words or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like he had a bad life. He was a Sandman. Like, he's revered in that whole thing. So for him to like
crushing puss,
right? Yeah, like literally.
That was Tinder. It's sci-fi Tinder.
Yeah, that's what.
The circuit. Yeah,
circuit's you get to swipe through, and if whenever you decide, and
hey, at least they're cool with gay people, or you know, whatever.
I read an argument about that. That's actually not progressive as you think, because what it's doing is the argument could be made that it's depicting the society as decadent, and then by it's sexually immoral, and then when they find the old man, he teaches them the nuclear family values that they all get interested in, and they're like wife, husband, blah, 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 blah. So there's an argument that it's actually critical of homosexuality, which once I thought about it that way was highly disappointing.
I could see that, but also that dude's parents, that might all be what they know. I don't know. Maybe like I said, maybe they died off. I don't know.
What, gay people died off?
Well, no, I'm saying like maybe the dystopian future they came from weren't very pro LGBT. I don't know.
You know, I think the most interesting concept of that whole, like the whole dome thing, is that even inside that dome, I'm gonna go back to it, is the cathedral. Like, kids who have violent tendencies are subjected to this like fucking tribal area to kind of make for their own. It's just kind of a weird concept to throw in.
Well, that's the part. It's like, this is supposed to be utopian, but instead of like locking up delinquents and shit, they just hoard them off in some dark
Well, yeah, it's
area.
like instead of like dealing with the mental health issues that they could be dealing with, they just kind of push them away.
And isn't that what we do?
Okay, Scott.
I mean, no. But the whole scene where he's like standing there and the guy's just like, come on, let's get him, and he pulls the whole, you're 15, you're about to turn 16, you know what they do to 16-year-olds in here, and just like explaining to him that they're going to rip him apart when he turns 16. For a utopian society to allow that to happen, it seems a little sketchy.
It's not very utopian.
I don't think that's very progressive.
But
it's fucked up because you see a little girl who's like 6 years old in there, running around with a bunch of fucking. It's like the kindergartners on recess.
It is.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like Peter Pan, but that's more accurate.
Like just like full, like fucked up. I don't want to say
primal Lord of the Flies.
Yeah. But like it's so gnarly they have that exists in that universe. Why any runner would run directly there to get away? Like it kind of creates like a obstacle for the Sandman, but
maybe they're too afraid to go there. Also, again, this movie has plot holes.
No, it just makes it more interesting to think about to me.
It does.
Like we don't see any of the industrial side of the dome, like where they manufacture shit, agriculture, because
I think it's all automated.
Yeah, and it has been.
What the fuck do they eat?
Well, that's what I'm saying, because when him and her escape, what's the woman's name? The girl?
Jessica.
I don't remember. Okay.
Jessica.
When they escape, initially they see like kind of like the sea, like the fish and stuff, and Logan says he thinks that they used to breed animals for food and stuff, and she's like, oh, that's a savage world. So are they vegan in the dome?
Yeah, what the fuck do they eat?
They probably just eat like Soylent Green or I don't know, whatever protein paste, something.
We don't see any agriculture at all. It's interesting.
Could be like a Snowpiercer where they're just grinding up roaches into protein bars.
Yeah, I would love to know more about that, but maybe I wonder if there's any more details in the book about stuff.
Maybe the people who renew they eat that.
It's 133 pages.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
You know, they might just eat the people that they put on the carousel who are trying to be renewed.
But that's not enough food for everybody.
You never know, man.
I mean, and there were fish in there. Maybe they don't know they're eating fish. They just take it for granted. And
that makes sense too.
But then also Box, the robot, said there used to be fish and kelp and stuff that would come through here that would freeze. And now I just freeze whatever else comes through here, namely runners. So that used to be his job. They've made a cyborg man to freeze people.
He kind of looks like the snowman from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Sounds a little bit like him too.
Like the face and everything.
But I wish we could have spent just a little more time with him. That happens really fast. I was expecting the first time I watched it, I expected a little more of an exposition dump or whatever, or just, I don't know, something. But it's kind of like, oh shit, these guys are frozen. Let's get the fuck out of here. Boom, fight real quick and then leave. And it's like, no, I want to know more about this.
I'm the only person who's come here with a gun.
He even like goes up to the old man and explains to the old man. The old man's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, does that mean that people may have escaped before he ran out of shit to harvest?
I would assume maybe.
I don't know. And he doesn't say. For all we know, people might have snuck past him.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, that's possible.
But also before
they didn't
that,
take time to disrobe and get on conveniently laid pelts.
Yeah, maybe when he was
that was probably made from the body hair of former victims.
Yeah, maybe
I don't know. I didn't see much body hair in this movie.
No, dude, it's just a bunch of armpit hair tied together.
When he was busy harvesting shit, you know, maybe he had to pay attention to these people coming through, you know. Fuck it.
What's he do when he's not harvesting shit? Do you think he does like crosswords or something?
Yeah.
Pilates.
He doesn't have legs.
Hey man, that's how he
runs around on wheels.
Yeah,
I almost feel part of me. I mean, I think he's in the book, but part of me is almost like the executives are like, we need a robot in this movie. Every sci-fi movie needs a robot.
Especially what type of robot he is. It's like the most clunky, like fucking George
cheesy ass
Jetson
like
fucking-
1950s.
It's a
looking.
1950s robot in a 70s movie.
It looks like
Yeah.
the robot that like you would. I don't know. Yeah, it's funny.
It's a
as fuck.
Jetsons robot. It literally
Yeah,
looks like a
yeah.
Jetsons.
It is very Jetsons.
It's so it popped up in my immediate thoughts. I forgot. I watched this movie a bunch when I was younger, but I hadn't watched it probably like 10 to 12 years. And I think that's just because I resented my dad a lot. But we rewatched it. I totally forgot about Box. I like for some reason completely ripped that up and like was watching it, and my friend who was watching it with me, she was just like, "What the fuck is that?" Like, just did not understand what it was like. Oh shit, it's Box. Like,
Yeah.
Have you never seen a robot
like
before? That's a weird name for a robot too.
Well, yeah,
It
but
is a weird
also
one.
like I love the cheesy fucking ice fucking the set.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
saying there's a
Proto Hoth.
I went to a art museum a few weeks ago in Santa Fe called Meow Wolf. They have a room that looks identical to this, and it's really fucking cool. And it's even colder in there. They turn the temperature down in that
That's
area,
cool.
so it feels cool. And then, but the cool thing, they don't have this in the movie, but they have like bones hanging from the thing that you can knock, and they make noise, like music notes.
And it's the bones of the humans who were frozen.
But they have like frozen animals and stuff in there, and it just like immediately reminded me of it.
Yeah,
Just some small little thing.
yeah. I really
If
like
I will
that.
say this.
If this movie was made today, would it just be Gen Z bad? Because this movie's kind of anti-hippie, I feel.
Is it anti-hippie?
It's a reaction to the youth counterculture movements of the 60s that prioritize youth over experience and which is something our culture still does to an unhealthy degree, I think, and at least in the mainstream media.
We
prioritize beauty, we prioritize youth.
That's fair.
Yeah, I like that they comment on that. That that's fine with me. Shit.
Yeah, the short-lived free love movement.
Yeah.
Short-lived, man. You gotta meet the girls I know.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
No,
Age
I'm
is the
just
thing,
kidding.
Gasher. So clock's ticking.
I will say that the introduction of the old man, where I'm glad they didn't give him a name. They were like, "Hey, what's your name?" He's like, "Don't remember my name for a long time."
Yeah.
I've one problem though on the rewatch I noticed is in the opening title credits it says Michael Ulvis or whatever as old man.
Yeah.
So it's like you just spoiled that in the movie because you just said everybody dies at 30. You freaking morons.
Yeah, it was dumb.
That's pretty funny.
Dumb choice.
It's like in TV shows up until like the 2000s, they would have the special guest star as this, and it's like, okay, so he's the killer. Okay,
Well, it's like,
stuff like that.
All of his dialogue is just, I feel like written way better than any other dialogue in the whole movie. Like most of his shit's like it's honestly, he reminded me of old Grateful Dead fans. If that makes sense. Like he genuinely reminds me of a hippie who is clever as fuck. You wouldn't understand that he's clever because of the amount of drugs he's done his whole life, but everything he's saying is with purpose and with meaning and genuinely smart.
Yeah, it's weirdly thoughtful, but also really sad.
It is sad.
Interesting.
That's how I feel about most of the fucking older deadheads I meet.
Yeah,
Like everybody's real thoughtful and they're saying things with meaning and it means something. It's just gonna take you a second to figure out what the fuck he's saying.
Yeah, I love the old man, but where's his Logan's Run cinematic universe prequel movie? That's what I gotta know. No,
Played by Ryan Gosling.
That would be fucking horrible. But yeah, because that's why I like this movie. What the fuck's his story?
You are genuinely the type of person who likes the least amount of exposition possible.
No, I like just enough to make my imagination run wild.
That's what I'm saying. Like you have to have a little bit of exposition to allow yourself to be ran wild, but you like maximalism, but you like minimal exposition for a lot of
iceberg theory, storytelling, like Hemingway. Like give them 10% and 90% is below the surface.
Yeah, that's why I
prefer
like
that too.
That's why I like conspiracy theories, like stupid ones. Yeah,
like the one, like we're in a giant dome being observed by aliens, like we're in a terrarium.
Well, yeah, like a lot of the short stories I read in English class in high school were kind of similar to that. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's the form is a short story. It's a short novel too. Again, 133. That's barely a novel.
Yeah,
I think
that's a what a fucking magic.
It's I think it if you're going by like the science fiction, like the Nebula Convention, yada yada. I mean, it's so many words between novel at smallest, and there's novella, and then there's novel. So I think it's considered a short novel.
I own.
What are you looking at?
A few. I'm looking at my books right now. I own a few. Like only ones that I have that are small like that are science fiction. A lot of the time, like
well, there's a lot of
the little novellas.
Yeah, cheap paperback.
So I was just curious to see what I had up there that I could pull a few down.
Yeah, the difference is the problem is when movies are cryptic just to be cryptic, and that doesn't work. And I avidly hate when they do that. But if you sprinkle just enough clues here and there, man, it makes it fucking magical to me.
Yeah, you can build a world off of like so little.
Because I mean, they walk through the dome, out of the dome, and they don't even know what the sun is. They're like, what the fuck is this?
How crazy would that fucking be experiencing for the first time? The last people to do that were cavemen, and they prayed to it.
Yeah. Imagine walking around.
Imagine experiencing the sun. This is a side note. I hear a lot of deaf people who get cochlear implants or whatever. They're surprised the sun doesn't make noise is one thing.
That's wild.
Because if you think about it, it's a giant ball of fire in the sky exploding with nuclear reactions all the time. It's kind of weird it doesn't make noise.
Yeah.
I wonder
talking
if there
about
was
the sun gives
space
me anxiety.
Probably.
That's my reveal today. Talking about space and the sun gives me anxiety.
That's fair.
Does it?
Yeah, you just talked about a giant ball of fucking fire doing nuclear explosions every fucking day.
And that's what gives us all life. That's the source of all life.
It's fucking ridiculous. I hate it. It's
the old, is it like that son in Rick and Morty? The
old man, he says he's kind of wishy-washy about his memories and shit, but he says he didn't really see too many other people around. So I'm wondering, like, are there other settlements around or across the country, or
I feel like there's different domes for sure. I'm sure that's a really dome civilization. There's probably fewer like tribal situations out there, but like surely the dome thing, that's just part of Washington DC at that point. Like those, I'd like to like thinking about like the origins of that dome, like what the fuck, like what happened. We know that.
What kind of disaster would cause them to insulate themselves for
and who are they,
as long as
like,
possible?
Because we're at Logan 6, right? So that's at least 180 years. Or 180 years at this point. Like, is there like a fucking, I don't know, a Jessica 15 out there? Like, how long ago?
And it was built to be self-sustaining, obviously, and it's worked so far.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
Could have happened in the late 21st century. And it could have happened in 2077 is when the bombs fell in Fallout. So I'm just saying,
are these all just vaults?
It might be a special type of vault. Like let's experiment with a geodesic dome vault.
Not enough mutants in this movie to be Fallout.
I think the next Fallout should fuck all the previous lore and start it from like the late 70s or early 80s instead of like the 50s kind of aesthetic. Go for like the early 80s kind of retro-futurism.
That'd be cool.
That's what I like. That's just my preference. I'm kind of tired of that Fallout fucking late 50s look.
Well, it's been overdone. There's so many things that like take that aesthetic, and there's only so many times I want to hear that song fucking somewhere beyond the sea. Like, I can hear that a billion fucking times in a billion different games. It'd be cool if we started like in Cold War era, and like that's what the destination's been, and the songs we got were like fucking everyone's watching, see what you would do, like fucking working for the weekend or some shit.
No, I guess from that you could go backwards from the 50s in the sense that like, well, people in the 50s might have still been enamored with the 20s the way we're enamored with the 80s, or people in the 80s were enamored with the 50s. You have stuff like that. But anyway,
I met someone modern day who's obsessed with the 20s, and he was fucking weird.
Was he like some dandy in Portland?
He was not in Portland. He was in Tulsa. I was talking to him. He was at the Men's Warehouse. Shout out to this guy. He told me my shirt scared him.
What were you wearing?
An Exorcist shirt.
He
complimented my friend. I was drunk at the Men's Warehouse because it was a.
Excuse me, sir. You know that shirt you're wearing isn't very Christian.
Well, he like commented on my friend's shirt. He was like, "Hey, I like your shirt," and I was drunk. I was like, "What about mine?"
What? You were drunk in a Men's Warehouse?
Yeah, that's my next album.
We got mimosas and stuff at brunch, and we were going to get our tuxes fitted. I was drunk. Anyway, he was like, "Nice shirt," and I was like, "What about my shirt?" He goes, "That scares me," and walks away. And I was like, "Whatever, you fucking dandy."
Is Tulsa? Is it a weird town? Are there hippie? Is it?
Tulsa's got a good scene for a lot of different things. It's a really good art town.
Oh, really? Huh.
There's a lot of really good artists from Tulsa. There's a lot of good music from Tulsa. It's more of like it's like a Southern cultural epicenter, more so than Oklahoma City by any means.
Yeah. Oklahoma City's more just municipal government, yada, yada.
It's capitalism. It's fucking max
capitalism. More like crapitalism.
It's a lot of like big banking firms and stuff like that in their downtown. And like Tulsa's got like really beautiful like art walks and stuff you can go on. It's one of the reasons why I've been thinking about moving there for a while.
So the people of Tulsa would be more likely to live in a having orgies in a club that's the air is filled with, I assume, drugs.
I'd say out of all the southern like cities I've been to, it'd be one of the ones that's like, yeah, probably.
There's no way this movie's PG. That fucking scene where they go
through this movie's PG.
Yeah,
a sex PG. Club, dude.
They go into a sex club with the air presumably filled with drugs, so the cinematography gets all woozy. And they're like,
I love
it. And there's like women grabbing onto him because consent doesn't exist. I don't know. It's also weird that he's like, you don't have to have sex with me if you want, you know. It's like, geez, you're such a gentleman, Logan. He's like, it's your choice. It's like, wow, you're such a nice guy, Logan.
My favorite one is when Francis gets mad that he takes the screamer. That's what he says. He's like, "Give me back the screamer." Like, I was like, "Oh my god!"
But also, like, everyone's having sex probably all the fucking time there. If you walk into that club, they're probably assuming you're there to fucking get down.
No,
I mean, that's true.
It's like most Pleasure Planet stuff I've read or pleasure areas. It's like you walk in and that's consent, technically. Like,
yeah,
everybody's there to do the naughty.
Although I feel like I mean that's not how you can't just consent with everybody.
No, but that's just like that.
What if there's just like somebody, I don't know, with moles all over their face?
They wouldn't have those in Utopia. If you didn't notice, everybody's pretty handsome in this.
Yeah, because they have really good plastic surgery.
Yeah, exactly. Which is, you guys haven't seen Crimes of the Future yet, but he 100% fucking Cronenberg took heavy inspiration on like his device. He basically, instead of having like a hyper like futuristic device, he took that futurism and made it like gross and almost like biological, but it's the same type of device where like you instantly cut and you can immediately suture back, which is gross and cool at the same time. Still, Crimes of the Future filtered the fuck out of me. I couldn't do it. I got there and was like, why the fuck did I watch this?
Oh well. It happens.
Yeah, I understand what it is. When your sense of oral is ripping open your partner's stomach and then sucking on that, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Man, Farrah Fawcett's in this movie for like 5 minutes.
I was like, yeah, she's one of my favorites from growing up, man. I used to have a poster on my wall when I was a kid.
What are you, fucking 55?
It was my
dad's poster. I was like, wait,
no.
What decade did you grow up in?
No, it was my dad's poster, and he let me put it in my room.
Corpus Christi.
Yeah, that's where I was born.
You were born in Corpus Christi?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, my dad lives there now.
Oh.
Yeah.
How is it?
It's filled with a lot of good Mexican food, and it's kind of poorer when I was growing up there. We were poor in Corpus Christi, so we lived in like Pueblo apartments that had geckos running through them and shit. And
Was it the red swimsuit poster, the iconic one?
It's the iconic one. Yeah, it was my dad's from like the 70s.
Oh, and he was like, "Here, son, I beat off to this. Now you beat off.
Now you can jerk off to it."
He was like, "You can still some of my DNA."
It was on the inside of my closet door because I had before my parents got divorced, I had a walk-in closet in my room, and I had it in my closet door, and I would look to it every time I got dressed, and experience weird feelings that I didn't know I could have.
Jeez. This whole
she died of
so what do you think? This is, you guys read Brave New World?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very similar.
It's very similar to Brave New World.
The cast they don't have
New World.
No. Wait.
You would like it.
I read some of it and then stopped. I should probably reread it.
You would like it more now. Were you a teenager?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd probably like it more now.
Ours was required reading. And
I haven't read that or Fahrenheit.
Fahrenheit 411 is fucking amazing.
Fahrenheit, it's pretty good.
I like that writer a lot. The only thing that's like really different with the Utopia series, there's not really like an established cast.
Well, that's kind of what I was getting at. There is, though. I feel like Sandmen as a class system are very highly regarded.
Yeah, they're like the cops, basically.
Yeah,
this is propaganda.
It's propaganda, dude.
Nah, he tries to fucking escape.
No, he throws over the system when the computer thinks itself to death with those holograms. This movie won a special achievement Oscar for its visual effects.
Good, thank God. I was gonna say it didn't get enough recognition.
There's
Star Wars came right after it. Blow it over.
The dioramas in this, the models were a little. I guess the trees are what give it away.
Yeah,
the trees are real fake looking.
Yeah, the miniature of the actual city is corny, but that's why I like it. I don't know.
I like it too.
I like the scene where they melt the body after getting the first runner.
Yeah.
Does it go into the air so everybody's breathing in?
It's just like disintegrates completely.
I was like, man, that's the shit I like. Or like there was one scene. Oh, it's whenever everything is like being destroyed in the frozen room. And the way it's edited, it's like none of that stuff is actually falling, but it's like edited on top of one another. I love shit like that.
Yeah, that's funny.
I got so high. I was pretty fucking drunk.
Could you not have somebody in the rafters just dropping?
Yeah, no, for real. I
feel like there's a simple solution to this.
That's just the lazy.
But also just made it look 10 times more chaotic, which was fun. Yeah,
it's a fun fucking scene, man. It's one of those scenes like every time I see it, I'm like, fuck yeah, that's
I love the way that box talks. He's like, what? Never seen one of me? I'm man and machine, but more than both.
Yeah. And you can see his lips inside the fucking costume.
Yeah. You can, but that adds to it.
I know.
And you kind of, I don't know, again, rationalize in your head world build, like why they would do it. And then like that. And then just I don't know, the idea he's such an old program that his wiring's gotten faulty and corroded, so he's freezing people and then stripping them naked for some reason. And when he freezes them,
I don't know, maybe they all strip naked and get those blankets.
That's true. He probably left those blankets there so people would strip naked out of their wet clothes, and I don't know.
The only reason why they were really wet is because the dude shot the fucking window
No. It's just human anatomy, just putting them down to their bare minimum.
Yes, I guess that's the only edible part.
Or boxes with a fucking pervert.
Boxes. He's really just doing this all for like Jeffrey Dahmer thrills.
Yeah, it's all a kink, man. It's all a kink. I like his freeze guns though.
He's just walking around
double wielding, dude.
It's just pressure washers like dipped in silver paint. That's all it looks like.
Great value Walmart brand Mr. Freeze. Just
And I like I said, I watched this with a friend of mine. She had never seen it before, and I'm surprised she went through the whole thing because it's just like not her type of movie. And she enjoyed it too, man. She enjoyed the cheesiness, and I was like, well, I'm glad we can watch shitty cheesy movies like this.
But it's not shitty, fucker. I love this movie.
Well, I'm saying like the fucking it's not shitty. I'm talking about just like You dipped pressure washer stuff in fucking silver paint and called it a
It's
fucking
cheesy,
freeze gun.
and if you're not used to watching some cheesy sci-fi tropey stuff, and I don't know, if you're one of those people who like it's not real, I can't watch things that aren't real.
Yeah, what the fuck? What a
I like
miserable
stuff
Because I don't
existence.
understand
Fuck you
what a
if you think
metaphor
like that.
is.
Yeah,
I like practical effects.
that's the important part. Is the heart of the movie is there are people like Logan who can accept the truth of no sanctuary and no renewal and being fake, and then there's people who can't handle not having a belief system like that, and they will completely unravel and do anything they can to keep it together.
Is this like a Richard Dawkinsy, like Christians?
But I mean, it is what it is, you know.
Well,
I'm
like,
not trying to be anti-religious, but that's just how I see it.
Or
The
people
thing
who
is,
have
though,
too much
Logan-
faith in the system.
Logan didn't come to this on his own like the other people did. He was exposed to it by the fucking computer. The computer gave him that mission.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm like, Logan to me is just too highly influenced by things around him. Like it's like he's fed that there's a sanctuary, and that's what leads him to go into this. And I guess he changes his mind because of other things, but he doesn't have like a fucking thought on his own a lot of the time.
It's fine to be disillusioned, though. It happened to me. I don't.
But what would be the point of like send this robot? Like you said at the beginning, I do think someone may have planted.
No, he was already. No, he was thinking about it at the very beginning with the sanctuary with the baby.
I don't know if he was, because then why was he celebrating so hard the renewal?
Because that's just how you are when you're, brainwashed,
caught
like
up in it.
And why was he shooting? Like, well, it's like, why, if you're having these thoughts, why are you so? You should be at least like split whenever you're doing this, like when he's shooting the fucking runner at the beginning.
But he missed him on purpose a lot.
Yeah, he did.
He was playing with him, but he didn't really want to kill him.
But that's it. I think
Logan's a bit of a sick fuck at the beginning of this movie.
That's what I was saying. Like, he's like that not killing him immediately is almost fucking worse.
Yeah, but he happened to be the person that turned in one of those sanctuary keys, and the computer chose him. I think it was chance, but also he had thoughts at the beginning. So,
I guess I interpreted the thoughts at the beginning as something different.
No, that's the whole point of the sanctuary, because he's like, well, wait a minute, what about renewal? Like, have you? Because he immediately starts questioning. He's like, well, have you seen anyone renewal? And Richard, or whatever his name is like, no, well, and he's kind of like, why are you thinking like this? And Logan's like, I don't know, that's important. That's even before he turns in the key.
He has some doubts, but also here's the thing. He benefits from the system because he's on the upper echelon of society as a Sandman. So there's a point where if you have $1 billion, it's best not to question the morality of a system that allows billionaires.
Looking at you, Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, he's watching this, I'm sure.
He's our number one fucking guy.
Jeff Bezos is our number. We open a Patreon, we get like $100 million donation from JB.
Look, I don't want to be a fucking Reddit atheist neckbeard, but that's just how I see it.
But that's just how he is. That's how
I became disillusioned when I was 18, when I started thinking more and more about certain things, cracking cracks wider, with my belief system. And sometimes you want to cling on to it like his friend, and sometimes you just got to go with it.
You're like, wait a minute, did Adam and Eve's kids just all have ancestral sex with each other?
Basically, what Adrian's trying to say is fuck God.
No, I'm just saying. It's just I went through a tough time back then, man, and I can see, and I see how a belief system can be very nice for certain people, and it works for a lot of people. And I kind of wish I could have that. And I can see why his friend clung on to it so much that he followed them outside of the dome and was still trying to fucking kill him.
Have you tried Scientology?
Have you seen Armand Christophe?
Or crystals? Or Zodiac?
Fuck all that.
Let's do an astrology cast.
No, let's slit our wrists.
Also,
that's a very I don't know what your sign is. Never mind.
I don't know. Yeah, I could give a fucking stop being annoying.
You talking the cat or your girlfriend? Oh, okay.
Cat. But that's another thing about this movie is that a lot of dystopian films have the bleak ending where everything's worse or nothing changes, and it's like, oh shit, because it's dystopian, nothing changes. It's just the same cycle. But this one has like a nice positive, like we can possibly rebuild outside of this dome and, you know, grow old.
I disagree. Even if that was the intent of the filmmakers, because there's uplifting music at the end of this when everybody escapes the dome because the computer thinks itself to death. None of these people know how to farm. None of these people know how to survive in this world. They're all children, completely helpless. I mean, even if they're above 18 or what, they're all children, you know. So dropping them into the middle of a society, I guess the old man has learned how to fend for himself. But how are thousands of people in the city going to survive without the automation of those machines?
That's a good point. I didn't think about that really. Well, I did, but like I figured it would be cool for them to figure out how to do all these things, fend for themselves and farm and do, you know,
create
a new society.
There's a manga that is not super similar in tone, but basically like where the end of the movie left off, it's kind of similar. It's called, I think, Dr. Stone. Basically, like the entirety of the earth had been frozen in stone, and when they are broken up, like the stones are broken off and they come back out, they are brought back to the Stone Age, and they have to basically learn how to do things and build a society again. So I could see it going like that, you know, one or two ways. Like this, you know, mangas are ridiculous, so there's ridiculous shit that happens, but they the leader of their tribe is the smartest person on the planet at that point, who's like trying to lead them back into the modern age. So basically they're going from where they're at in the modern age, they're gonna have to go back from square fucking one. And that's without the abundance of like animals and stuff like that, because the old man says really besides the cats, there's not a whole lot left.
Yeah, he said the fish ran out in that one pond area, but there could be plenty out in different areas of the world.
Yeah, it just depends on what the world's like.
Yeah,
and again, there may be other settlements that are domed up and everything like that.
I mean, that guy's pretty plump. He's doing all right, you know.
You guys think he's a pervert? Do you think whenever they came out, they're like,
no, I think he's
face? You think he got mad fucking horny? He was like,
no, yeah, that was a beautiful, powerful image of me, of everyone running up to him.
Of you? You throwing yourself in that character?
No, man, he's just like a very, like, I don't know. He's an old man.
Sweet old grandpa. He's probably secretly racist. Everybody in this movie is white.
But he also says, I've always been here, just like Keith Cologne. So, you know.
Maybe that is Keith Cologne.
Yeah, maybe he is. He lost in this world, not knowing left from right.
Too many drugs.
But I like my view of the ending. I like Scott's view of the ending because it could be whatever, really.
It's a glass half empty, glass half full, and that's very typical of our personalities.
Yeah.
I wish the ending would have been like they come out and then some catastrophic event immediately happens again.
I wish the ending was they all come out and then we learn the entire movie took place in the mind of an autistic child looking at a
It's just Adrian holding a snow globe.
Thanks. Yeah, what show was that? I don't even remember.
General Hospital. Is it?
No, St. Elsewhere, not General Hospital.
General Hospital. St. Elsewhere, huh?
Terrible. And you were there, and you were there, and you were there, and you were there.
So I guess Logan will probably become like the leader of the fucking gang now, huh?
Or he'll try to be, or there will be a power struggle.
No, all these limp wrist vegan liberals won't know what to do. They need a real man like Logan, like fucking what's his name?
Interesting voice.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of. He was in Austin Powers.
Yeah, that's where I knew him from.
Yeah, he is in Austin Powers.
Yeah.
Oh my god. He's the Q equivalent, or M.
Yeah.
He's that was what I recognized him from. I was like, holy shit.
And he is English, but he has kind of a almost transatlantic accent, sort of.
He sounds like a dick. He sounds like someone who'd tell me to stop running in the lobby of a hotel.
Right. No, he's you probably shouldn't run in the lobby. Yeah.
Yeah, who the fuck? What?
He was like, man, he's probably telling me to stop, popping wheelies in the hotel lobby. Getting skid marks everywhere. I was like, well, yeah, you shouldn't do that.
Whatever. I just want to have fun.
If they remade Logan's Run today, what would they do wrong?
I think they could either make it too dark and gritty, make it too, this is going to sound weird, too political. And what I mean by that is like too inherently one-sided political. Depending on you could either be like these kids and their liberalism, or you could be like these fascist cops saying, man, blah, 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 blah. When I think it needs to be more, I'm saying art should be apolitical. It can't be, but it should be more philosophical in a way and have more questions than answers. I also think
too close to the mic.
I also think they could just go too gritty, too dark.
Fucking Tazon Day.
Or over-explain. Move away from the mic to breathe.
I think that they wouldn't have enough nudity in it.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe they go too far. Maybe they go like Game of Thronesy, like, oh, let's just put tits everywhere.
Yeah.
Stunning lack of tits so far in House of the Dragon.
Where's all the fucking dong?
In movies and the only movie with enough bare man ass in it is Orgasmo. That's the only movie I've seen with enough.
Remember, I went and saw Dewey Cox in theaters and gasped when I saw Chris Parnell's dick just hanging.
Yeah. For some reason, I thought you said a completely different movie. For some reason, my head like melted. I thought you said Bucky Larson, Born to Be a Star.
No. I've never seen that movie, and I'm good to not see that movie.
Jesus, I forgot about that movie. I didn't watch it, but dude,
I didn't even bring it up, and you remembered it somehow. No, I'm talking about Walk Hard, the Ballad of Dewey Cox.
Yeah, I fucking love. Yeah, classic.
It's funny how still on point that movie is. After watching Elvis this past week, I was like, they nailed the tropes of a biopic so fucking well.
Yeah, for real.
Like that's timeless because of that. Like there's so many.
What's funny about Walk Hard is that it's a funnier movie than that. Or it's a better movie than that Johnny Cash movie.
I like Walk the Line a lot.
Casher's also a Johnny Cash fan.
Yeah,
I like Johnny Cash. I'm just saying, like, to me, I'd rather watch Dewey Cox.
Yeah. I like them both. That's how we're gonna end it. This is instead of put Walk the Line as the title for this one and make it look like we're talking about Walk the Line, and then it'll be Logan's Run.
No, I don't think so. I already did that with a cast that is now hidden from the public. It was a Catwoman cast, but it was actually America the Motion Picture, and it went horribly, horribly awry. And if we make a Patreon one day, maybe I'll put it on there for like a tier 3 sub. But yeah. Or if you DM me, if you're a fan of the show enough, you could DM me. I'll send you the link and you can watch it. It's fucking horrible. If you want to see patricians at work, no.
And then if you
patricians, virgins.
If you DM Adrian for the fucking link, then DM me because I need more friends.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody.
Next one we're watching is Logan's Come.
Logan's got the runs.